Good morning, Coach. What's an
Hey, Chris.
update on Fabian White's chances to play this year?
There's no really update. We're just kind of watching him and monitoring him. That's not going to be my decision. It would be a decision between Fabian, his parents, and the doctor. So I just kind of take my lead from them. But he's been cleared to practice. That was a big step.
You have any idea of when a timetable decision might be made?
No.
Okay.
We'll go to Joseph Duarte with the Chronicle now. Joseph, go ahead, sir.
Hey, good morning, Kelvin.
Good morning, Joseph.
Let's just jump into USF here. Just looking at them, are they one of the bigger teams you'll face this year in terms of, roster lineup?
Yeah, I think every year SMU's big too. Naza's 6'11", 7-foot kid. JC's 6'10", 6'11". Jaguar 6'9". Fran Hunt 6'8", 6'9". So SMU and USF's probably very similar in that they always have a big five and a big four. The kid that transferred from Texas Tech is their backup. He's playing a lot better. I think Brian's probably pleased with his progress, but as two 7-foot kids that will always be in the game. I think Durr's averaging around 30, 31 minutes a game in conference, and the other kid's averaging about 9 or 10. So one of those guys will always be on the floor, and then the Yetna backup is a little bit smaller, but he's a good 3-point shooter. So, but their team is Collins is one of those wily old veterans that has a lot of moxie, a lot of savvy. He knows how to draw fouls. He lives at the foul line. He knows how to draw fouls off the ball. He'll catch you not looking and jump in front of you and fall down, take a charge, catch you running back full court. And a lot of times the referees see that out of the corner of their eye, and it's natural reaction to blow the whistle because he got hit. Maybe they don't always see the whole play. So, but we've been watching him for 3 years. He's one of those kids you love to have on your team. He's just hard to play against.
How's Quentin doing, Coach?
He seemed better. I think the time off really helped him. His sprain was more on the outside of his right foot, more so than up in the ankle. And that, where that hurts him is when it's his left foot, so moving laterally left to right. And then, most right-handers, go back to my master's in physiology classes, most right-handers have contralateral movement, which if they're right-handed, they jump off their left foot and vice versa. So the left foot for a right-hander is important because that's usually Quentin's more of a 1-foot jumper around the rim versus a 2-foot jumper. I'm sure it bothered him there, but he seemed fine now. I don't think it's going to be an issue going forward. We played Wednesday. We came in and got after it really hard on Thursday. Friday was more devoted to the white team that was going to play in the scrimmage, not scrimmage, but the exhibition or the game, whatever it was. So those guys didn't do much Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And we needed that break because we haven't had a bye. Most teams have a bye week, 2 bye weeks this year, but we had not had ours. We've been going at it pretty hard since December 20th. So I was glad to see him get I was able to give him a little time off.
Okay. Are there any more questions here for the group? Anybody? I think I've got, hang on here just one second. We'll go to Alex with KRGV. Alex with KRGV. Go ahead with a question for Coach Sampson, please.
Good morning, Coach. Thanks for taking the time today. Down in the Valley here, I know you tweeted about it on Sunday, but I wanted to see if you would offer some comments on the thoughts on the passing of Coach Hill. I know that you and him were friends, and obviously you guys played each other a couple of years ago over at Texas Southern.
Yeah, a game we were lucky to win. Um, I just recently talked to Lew. Lew called me a lot about different things. Just I guess when you're old, they'll call and ask yourself about their team. But he's dear friend. Just awful news, sad news. I know that when something like that happens, I think the coaching fraternity gets tighter. Because Lew was somebody that connected so many different coaches and staffs. Lew was one of those genuine people that really, really cared about his players. He talked to me about his best player and how to handle, an issue that he had on his team a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, maybe it was a couple of weeks ago. But he just cared. I think that's number one in coaching is players first. 24/7, look after your players. Make sure that their well-being is first and foremost. And nobody embodied that spirit more than Lew. And, sometimes when you're off the beaten path, like he was down at RGV, I was at Washington State in Pullman. Sometimes you work in anonymity, and not a lot of people realize what a great job he was doing there. Tough out, teams played hard, well coached, disciplined. A lot like Lew, a kid that came out of Mount Vernon High School in New York, made it. I mean, Lew made it. I know when Oklahoma went to the Final Four, that was here in Houston, and they and Lon Kruger called me and asked me could he use our facility for their workout. And I think I spent half the practice talking to Lew. He was just a great guy. Great guy. Sad news. We've lost so many giants in our game this year. With Coach Thompson and Coach Chaney, and there's a lot of this new generation of coaches that can't relate to Coach Chaney or Coach Thompson, but they can relate to Lew. He was more. Lew at 56, the mid-30s and 40s guys know how hard Lew worked on the recruiting trail. Always did things the right way. Just sad news. Lon and I were texting, and I think it was yesterday, and we were just talking about how it impacts us. I was at practice yesterday, and it's and my mind was thinking about his wife and his children. And what a great family man he was. But I know I'm rambling here, but that loss impacted a lot of people.
And just a quick follow-up on that, Coach, on that game that you guys played 2 years ago. You just said it there. You were lucky to get out. Can you just describe, what maybe you said to him after that game? Because I know you said in your press conference after how proud you were of them and the team.
Yeah, well, they deserved to win the game. We got outplayed. The game, I think that was at Texas Southern. That was when that year we were out of our gym. I think we played 19 games over there, and I think we were 19-0, and a lot of those games weren't close. But the one game we should have lost was the one to Lew's team. His best shooter missed the shot. A kid to be the last guy that you would think would make a shot for us made it. And that's how it came down. We made a three with one of our non-shooters, and he missed the three with one of their shooters. Had that role been reversed, we would have lost. And, I just remember as a young coach coming up what it was like trying to build from the ground up, which is what Lew had to do. And I know what that win could have done for his program. And because I'd been there, and that's why after the game, I said that to Lew. I said, be disappointed you lost, but do not be disappointed, discouraged in the way you played. You guys was the better team. We just had more points at the end.
Thank you, Coach.
Welcome.
We'll go back to Joseph Duarte. Joseph, go ahead.
Kelvin, from Saturday's game, when you got the younger guys some work, I was wondering if from that game you go into the rest of the season with an idea of maybe what you saw and how you could use some of those guys, or someone who may have either changed an opinion or sort of maybe increase their ability to maybe play some more minutes down the stretch.
Yeah, I would say the latter, Joseph. We start our best lineup. There's that's not an opinion, that's a fact. We start our best lineup. I mean, there's a reason why our record is what it is. But guys like Cam, where can we plug Cam in a little bit more? And obviously, if you put Cam in, he was probably taking Marcus out. I think Tremont is not a corner guy. A lot of times we would have Nate or Armani in the corners for spacing, because maybe they weren't as good at ball handlers or playmakers as the guys had the ball in their hands, like Rob Gray or Galen or Corey. But Tremont is not a spacer. He's better with the ball in his hands. And if you look at the I get it. We're all smart people here, so I'm not going to insult anybody's intelligence about who we were playing against. But there's a lot of really good players that can't score the ball, no matter who they play against. You can't shoot, you can't shoot. I don't care who you play against. It's like somebody saying, I'm going to transfer down to a low major so I can average 30. Well, the rim is still 10 foot, Hoss. And it's still 18 inches in diameter, and that ball still has 9 pounds of air in it. You can't shoot it on this rim. You can't shoot on their rims either. So, but Tremont is one of those guys that, like all freshmen, he's been up and down, but he has the ability to do some things, and we saw some things in that game. Looking back at the film, that maybe, when he's in the game, he goes for this guy rather than this guy. And we have these three guys in there together, with Tremont being the ball handler or the playmaker. We've got we still have 6 really good guards. When you think about last year's team, we lost 5 starters. Chris Harris was a starter. Fabian was a starter. Nate was a starter. And Caleb was a starter. I guess 4 starters, 4 guys that did start. So this team was, we just kind of said, okay, here's our pieces. We're going to put them back together. But we still have 6 good guards. Jamal Sheds is, he's going to be our starting point guard here eventually. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. Jamal Shed, Jamon Mark, Marcus Sasser, all those guys are back. But Cam Tyson, but that's part of our plan in building the program. Having a sustainable model is depth. The way to sustain what we've done here over the last 4 years is the key to our team is depth. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes you have so much depth, some guys don't like their role, so they take off and look for a better role or a more major role somewhere else. But the strength of our team, not just this year, if you just follow us this year and you start asking about our depth, you're late to the party, because we've been doing this for 4 or 5 years now. Depth has always been a major part of this program. But those 3 guys that played the majority of the minutes, Jamal Shed, Tremont Mark, Cam Tyson, 3 guys that will start tomorrow night is a different 3. Dejan Giroux, Quentin Grimes, and Marcus Sasser. So obviously all 6 of them aren't going to play together at the same time in the same game. But Cam Tyson is he opened the door and he had his foot in the door. Now he's put kind of a wedge in there, and he's kind of getting in there. We got to find a way to use him more. And Tremont obviously is not a guy that you put him in the corner and let him watch Dejan go to work. Maybe you have him in there in that role. So, you see some things, but we have a good team. But our deal is making sure we play to our culture every time we step on that floor. But when I hear people talk about our league, and this is the sad part, like Fran Fraschilla does such a great job for the Big 12. He knows everything about every coach, every player, every team. So, like, for instance, I've never heard one announcer say that we're the only conference that has every single team in the top 160 in the net. All I ever hear is we're a one-bid league. Nobody ever talks about how good our league is. We have 4 teams I think can make the NCAA tournament. I think we can. I think Wichita State can. I think Memphis can. I think SMU can. I think all four are deserving. But you never hear that. All you hear about is how bad the league is. It's a one-bid league. Nobody does any homework on the teams in our league and fights for our league. Dakich does a great job for the Big 10. Fraschilla does a great job for the Big 12. Every league has somebody. We have nobody. People that do our games are mostly negative toward our league. Well, it's a one-bid league. You only have one team. They don't stop to look at the growth that our league has had from when we started this season. Look how much better Wichita State's done. The job Isaac Brown has done at Wichita State, I think, is incredible. Penny's team has gotten better and better and better and better. Now they're an NCAA tournament team. The season started in December. The teams change. They get better. That's why our league, we have a really, really good basketball league. Memphis would beat a lot of teams in a lot of different leagues. So would Wichita State. So would SMU. UCF, beat Florida State. They beat Auburn. Don't ever hear anything about that. USF going into the year, I thought was kind of a sleeper choice to win the league because they had 5 starters back. Collins, Castaneda, Yetna, who was, I think, probably the best 4-man in the league before he got injured, Durr, and then Brian went out and got some great transfers. But, if you stop and study the coaches, study the players, study the team, study their growth, look how much better they've gotten. Instead of tell us we're over here drowning and you're telling us the water's wet. There's a lot of great things going on in our conference that nobody ever notices or says anything about. It's not just Houston. We're one of many good teams in this league.
We'll go back to Chris Gardner, please. Chris, you got another question?
I do, Jeff. Coach, is everything good as far as testing before heading out to Tampa? Yeah,
we tested yesterday, and we're all good, Chris. Everybody's negative. We have some kids back testing now that were under the 90-day protocol. Then we have another group that's under the 150-day protocol. So we have a group that won't get tested now till till the season's over. April or May, maybe April. Some coaches are in that window too. But kids that tested positive in the fall are back being tested again. They were out for 90 days. Now they're back in that window.
Okay. All right, time for a couple more questions here, guys. We'll go to Joseph, back to Joseph Duarte, please. Joseph, go ahead.
Kelvin, if I could sneak one more question in. Last night on your coach's show, you mentioned about the Guy development facility and some things that could be on tap. Is it too early in terms of ideas or specific things that you have, or is there anything in motion that you can kind of share of what you want or what your vision is for some of those upgrades?
There's nothing in motion right now because I haven't really gone to the administration with it, but I get most of my ideas, and this is, why, most of the coaching staffs that come here tour our facilities because we've got one of the best facilities in the country. But, we moved in here in 2016. You know, every 5 years you need to do something to upgrade. You know, what's cutting edge? You know, I think about the NBA teams that and the NBA is to me is the model of which we're trying to follow. You know, if you look at, you know, just for instance, you know, we don't have cameras. We don't have cameras in our building. You know, we have drones. You know, we have, you know, keyless entries. Our kids have retinal scans to get into the doors. All that came from the NBA. The way we set up our equipment room with the rollers, the in and out, that all came from the NBA. But, you know, when the season's over, you know, I want to go and find out who built their buildings last. What's new? What's cutting edge? You know, I see some space here that maybe we can, you know, knock a wall out here or knock a wall out there. But I'm also sensitive that we're in a pandemic era, you know, with, you know, donations and asking people for money right now is probably not the wise thing to do. So we're sensitive to that, but I'm always making a list. You know, I sit down with Lauren at least once a week, you know, to think outside the box, come up with new ideas. You know, I think you know, here at Houston, our program is, you know, speaks for itself what we're doing, but by no means do we feel like we're on top of a mountain. You know, we're always climbing the mountain. When you're climbing the mountain, you know, you're constantly looking for ways to make your program better, whether it be by facilities or staff. Obviously, players are first. You know, our meal structure, our travel structure, everything. You're always taking inventory of what we have and how we can make it better. That's what every coach should do. You know, I'm not worried about keeping my job. I'm worried about making my job better. That's always been my my goal. You know, it's I saw it a lot in the NBA where guys would come in and just, you know, try to figure out how to keep the job. You know, that's never been my goal. You know, how can we make this better? There'll be a day when there's another coach here, and I want to make sure that this place is the best it can be going forward.